Good morning. We're going to go ahead and call a meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Of a motion. Discussion. Steve.
Rick, I'm going to ask that we amend the agenda.
I'm sorry, you want to amend the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of amending the agenda? Say aye.
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 Do you want me to
The
explain it?
approval for the amending of the agenda is passed. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I appreciate that. I discovered that in my packet, M06 did not have the attachments that are also amended as part of M06 in our red line version. And I'm simply asking that we hold it off until we have our meeting, I think, next week regarding the contract for the vendor, and we can do both at the same time.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, discuss, yes.
I just want to share that this information was sent to all directors over 10 days ago. We had multiple opportunities to review the information. We received no feedback. Council reviewed it. Bylaw committee reviewed it. So it's a little disappointing that we're sitting here this morning and having to amend this agenda. But given the past, we'll take care of it next week.
Comments, discussion? And as the then with the agenda, I'd like to make a motion to pass the agenda. So we have the approval, motion for the approval of the March 23 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the March 23 regular meeting? Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? The approval of the minutes have passed for the March 23rd regular meeting. Next, have an accommodation, a plaque and a presentation for the Stephen Decatur High School wrestling team for winning their state championship for the past 5 years. Ask to please come forward. So the accommodation reads, whereas Stephen Decatur High School wrestling team has exhibited unparalleled dedication, resilience, and excellent sportsmanship throughout a perfect season, and whereas the relentless pursuit of excellence and unwavering team spirit led them to an extraordinary run of victories across several years, clinching the 5th consecutive wrestling state championship. And whereas many of the wrestling team members have garnered individual state championship honors over the years, and many athletes have also been high academic achievers, whereas the perseverance, talent, and outstanding leadership displayed by each member of the team, coaching staff, and all those who support them have brought immense pride and honor to Stephen Decatur High School and the community of Ocean Pines. And their triumph stands as a testament to the power of teamwork, determination, and commitment to achieving greatness on both on and off the mat. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Ocean Pines Board of Directors that we commend and celebrate the remarkable achievement of Stephen Decatur High School wrestling team for the 5th consecutive Maryland Athletic Association Class 2A state championship. We extend our heartfelt congratulations to the players, coaches, staff, family, and supporters who dedicate unwavering support, contributed to this remarkable success. This is executed under the seal of Ocean Pines Association on today, the 20th day of April, 2024. Congratulations. Everything to say? Man of many words. Once again, congratulations to the team. Get that picture. Okay, next on the agenda of President's remarks, I would like to thank our General Manager, John Viola, and his staff for all the work that they have done on behalf of Ocean Pines. This board would also like to congratulate the members of John's team for their recent promotions. We have Eddie Wells, who has been promoted to the Senior Director of Public Works, and Mark Swift to Assistant Controller. I'd also like to thank, on behalf of the board, those who attend the Board of Directors Volunteer Dinner. It was a true success and enjoyed by all those who have attended that evening. Just as a quick reminder, we have Ocean Pines Day today from 3 to 7 at Whitehorse Park. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. I would also like to thank Gary Miller, Linda Urchie, and the Ocean Pines staff for working together and making this a great event, and I'm sure it'll be very successful. Next up, we have a swearing in of Officer Freddie Howard. This is something new and something that is going to be a tradition here in Ocean Pines. And we are delighted as a board to be able to do this and have the swearing in and have Mr. Howard take the oath of office today. So please come forward. Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do swear and or affirm
Do swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear a true allegiance to the state of Maryland, and support the Constitution and the laws thereof, and that I will, to the best of my skills and abilities, judgment, dignity,
dignity,
and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice,
faithfully, without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of police officer
do the office of police officer
according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Maryland.
according to the Constitution of the state of Maryland.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'd sign this. Thank you, sir. All right, thank you. Okay, next up is the GM report. John.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Just gonna take a second here. The GM report, leadership report, also Linda Martin today. She'll be joining me. All right, to start off with, I like pictures. This picture the cherry trees, they're growing, they're just looking great. We get a lot of feedback on them. I'm excited every year to see them. There they are. We'll enjoy that for many years. All right, so today, here's our agenda. It's pretty much straightforward. Between Linda and myself, we will update you on all of that. Okay. All right, so, Chief, I believe, Chief, will you be talking today? So as the chief gets up there, everybody focus on that picture on the right. But a great hire, and Freddie also today to join our team. But, the chief, what he's saying there is, hey, John, it's Ocean Pines, right?
You press the button. There you go.
It is Ocean Pines, and it's a great day in Ocean Pines. Everybody should live here. I always say I want to say one of the things that we were tasked with was a committee has been started to look at signage here in Ocean Pines, specifically on the Parkway. And one of the things we start taking a look at is if you see these signs that denote that you are approaching a median strip, and they're at every single crossover. And what we're doing is looking at, and they seem to be a little bit superfluous, whether we need them at every single crossover. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be cutting back on those signs. They will be located at the beginning of the crossovers, but we are going to be removing them on certain parts. So there won't be at every single cross. As you can see, they're one right after the other, just for the beautification of the Parkway. Now, that's the first thing. The other thing we want to mention is we have been, I spoke with a gentleman yesterday, and sometimes when traffic does get backed up, one of the complaints was not blocking the crossovers, so people can get through there. So if traffic is backed up for whatever reason, try to make sure you keep those crossovers open so people can get through there. That's one of the things we are going to be keeping an eye on. So. But overall, things have been great in Ocean Pines. And as I said, this is a great community, and I'm very proud to be your police chief. And thank you for that opportunity to be your police chief.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, so we start off with, it says projects, but I like to call them initiatives. Tiki Bar, just a big one right now. Project status is green. Anybody that's been at the yacht club has mentioned it to me or Rick. It looks good. It will be good. Monday morning, 6 a.m. The trusses come. That's key. I'll be there. And we'll be there ready in May, middle of May. If not, we'll have alternative plans, and everybody will get their drinks. Soft Shore, Shoreline, we have received the bids. We've talked about that. The bids are there. We are talking, Josh is leading that team. We're talking with Vista. The next step, the big step, is we want to get the site plans, a whole idea. Those designs is what we'll take forward. We're looking at more than a year here. We need those plans. There is money. The money has already been received. I believe we'll also be doing some plantings in the next year at the right time. Veterans Pavilion, I met with Marie Gilmore again yesterday, with Eddie, with Linda. Frank Brown, I spoke to Frank this morning. He'll be doing the designs. We will meet with Whalen. We did change the date until Veterans Day. Everybody is good with that. We are looking at something that will be comparable to the memorial that's there now. So I'm excited about that one. And good to be working with Marie and everybody else. All right, Racket Sports, project status yellow. I talked about this. We're shifting gears a little bit. However, the board has instructed me, and rightfully so, to continue on what's been approved. And we still are focused on that. Bathrooms, pro shop, the director's office, and more visibility. So we are working on that in the design phase. Turn the page. Electronic sign. This is pretty exciting and new, and you can see the sign there. It's in black and white. Yep, black and white. It was installed on April 16th. We were pretty much on track. What we promised we'd deliver. There are many functions with this sign. Many people along 50 and everywhere else have this type of sign. It's new for us. So we are learning. We have somebody training us on that, and then we will take that on ourselves. So in the meantime, you may see some different, you may see some color there, but we should be aware of all the abilities this sign does. There's your price, came in on budget. Credit to Public Works. They did all the pavers there. Very excited and happy about what they did. All right, the reserve study. This is DMA, you know it here. Just some stuff that has come out as far as judiciary proceedings committees. We're pretty much on track with this. Nothing's surprising us there. We have been ahead of the game on this since we did have an outside independent reviewer come in 5 years ago as well as a couple of years ago. So we have done all that, we're positioned better than we were 5, 6 years ago, way better for many reasons. But again, that doesn't mean we're there. These are uncharted waters. Let's go through the process. I am talking with them. They're going to come in November. We are already working on all the details. So we do have to do that review. We're doing our due diligence and then we'll see. But at this point, it's uncharted waters as far as what our reserve number should be. Turn page. Maintenance. So, Beach Club, we're doing a lot of work there. I get a lot of emails. What are we doing? I can assure everybody, the boards that are around there, I'm getting mostly emails on that. We do replace the boards every year. We will be doing that again this year. It is scheduled for replacement, the entire deck over the next couple of years. So we are looking at that. But I just want to assure everybody that is in the plans and in the budget. And we've been power washing the buildings, among other stuff. Turn the page. Landscaping, put that out there. The pictures tell the story. The palm trees are coming for the bridge as well as everywhere else. Those cherry trees are just gorgeous. Turn the page. Okay, so we did, in fact, Jeff alerted me to this, I believe, last month. It was immediately taken care of. The next day, somebody hit one of the railings you can see on the right. Public Works was on it. Drainage. So this came up last week. Director Steve Jacobs asked me about it. I do have an example. I've asked Steve to show everybody. If anybody wants to take a look at it, it's solid. So, that's a miniature. You can see there how big the pipes are. These are key pipes. We're in the 5th year, spent about $1 million on these pipes, on these liners. The money that it saved us, this process is incredible. Those pipes have not been touched 30, 40, 50 years. You talk about drainage. This is something I believe really was never addressed. We cleaned the ditches, we moved the leaves, whatever. This is it. This is key on why the drainage is better. 200,000. Residents Day Golf. I know today's the OP day, big day. Our golf pro told me that tomorrow here at the golf course, and I invite everybody to come and attend. But you can see free. So all free stuff tomorrow. It's pretty good. This is a good segue for me to talk about golf. So normally I would talk during the financials, but this needs to be highlighted. And I've been saying this for 3 years, if not 5 years ago, that this golf course would be profitable. And I define golf as after depreciation. So we got all the pundits out there. We talk operational without the depreciation. I'm telling you now, the forecast for golf for this year, just like I told you last year and 3 years ago, will be profitable. The forecast is over 40,000 after depreciation. It's huge. So when anybody says, oh, we're paying for the golf course, the golf course pays for itself. The golf course will pay for that irrigation over the 5 years. We have a plan. We have a plan on the memberships, and I'll talk more about that as well as our pricing. Profitable. Racket sports. Okay, so look, it's all over the place and everything. After last meeting, it was identified there was mold. There's no mold issues. None. Play court renovation started this week. ATC is probably there as we speak. I was told they would be there this morning. I know they're working on the hard true, the grading, the rolling the courts. I know Nobi's down there, our deputy director. They needed more work than I thought based upon what I heard was going to happen over the last year or two, but we're on it. They will also review the pickleball courts and the paddleball courts and give us a recommendation of what needs to be done there. They have all kinds of measuring statistics on when to fill a crack and what to do and everything that. So we have the outside person there and we're working on it. No mold. Aquatics. I'm going to ask Linda to jump in on the next slides and the amenities. She does do a lot of work with our department heads.
Class certification on lifeguards started. 50 lifeguards are currently on the roster. So we're hoping that they continue and we'll get a few more. So we should be fully staffed. Swim lessons continuing. They're full through May, reserving summer lessons now. But it's for the younger children are already full. Junior lifeguard program is returning this summer. And reminder, the snack bar will be returning as well at Swim and Racket. And then today we will be presenting a bid for resurfacing of the swim and racket splash pad. Recreation and Parks, new programs offered this year. You can all register at the Recreation Department at the Community Center. But it's also in the activity guide. We are offering yoga, chair yoga, body weight boot camp, martial arts, skateboard class, paint classes, cornhole league, and disc golf league. The indoor outdoor yard sale was last weekend and all spots were filled. So that's really key. Summer camps are completely filled. They were filled within the first 2 weeks. And just a reminder of the community bike ride on May 11th. IT, Yacht Club, after the board meeting held out last week, we have upgraded the Wi-Fi, invested in a new Wi-Fi 6 system, and additional Wi-Fi points have been added. Total cost $2,000. And the clubhouse, as you can see, we have new speakers, new microphones today. They sound pretty good to me. So microphones have been ordered, improved sound, and the video. Keith is doing a fabulous job back there doing the camera angles. So everyone is on camera today. Waterways, aerators were placed in the Bay Colony, the Drawbridge Canal. They were not working. We did order new ones and they should be installed as soon as they arrive. Buoys, replacement buoys have been ordered as well. They should be installed. They were installed, some started this week. They should finish next week. And bulkhead replacement, they're finishing up on the 2023-24 bulkhead replacement. And they should be moving next to the emergency bulkhead replacements. Road paving started. I know some streets, if you've seen the milling and the stones, they did start the milling. They should start the paving next week. It was approved by the board in October. Total cost $356,618, being done by asphalt maintenance, and there's infected streets that will be taken care of. CPI violations for March, 119 new violations, 84 closed out. 218 remain. Legal has really been stepping up on the ones that were sent in to them. We've gotten several letters and several responses and actually applied a few out this week. So good job on that. But we still have the 218 still remaining, mostly in maintenance. So we're working on maintenance as much as possible. Work orders, 138 work orders, new, 83 closed out, 170, majority are in drainage. So we have 103 drainage. It's this time of year that we do have a lot of drainage work orders coming in the spring for clean out because people are returning. So we do have 103 currently still open in drainage. And customer service received 161 total emails and phone calls. And for information, just email info@oceanpines.org or dial 410-641-7717.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sure.
Yeah, get used to this. Mailboxes, the process for, I know we're going through the community and there's a schedule. Is that kind of on track? Where are we kind of with that?
We're currently working on phase 1 still. I'll try to get an update next month. I know we have all the general maintenance staff working on the tiki bar. So it's been put on hold right now, but we are still working on phase 1 and we'll move to phase 2, probably later this spring.
Good deal. Thank you.
Yeah, that comes up in our staff meetings. We have all the material. We have the materials there. Yep, I just need the manpower, or she needs it. Okay, so to just summarize everything, Linda said everything. If you look at what we do now, every department, every amenity, every piece, whether it's maintenance, landscaping, whatever, we're touching on that every month. That's what we go through in our staff meetings to make sure we're addressing everything, especially the emails that come in, as well as the constructive feedback from committees. All right, financials. Financials are good. They've been good. At least I feel they're good. I just mentioned again, we report this way. This is the way our squads tell us to report. We have to report versus budget and then plus or minus, favorable, unfavorable. But this is favorability. It doesn't mean that it's surplus. So for the month, we're favorable $148,000. We came in a little higher than what I anticipated. There will be some timing in April, some offsets, but the numbers are good. They continue to be good. It's not just expenses, but also revenue continues to be favorable, more so when I show you the year-to-date numbers. Again, these numbers are driven by golf, I have to say aquatics is coming up and really doing well. Credit to that lady down there and the team, the whole team. But pretty much across the board. It's just those are the ones I can highlight more. On the police side, we do have favorability, obviously, in salaries. The chief and I are working on that. We believe we'll be fully staffed. Chief, where are we? In about. That's right. It's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. So again, so that favorability, that'll be just, that will roll over next year and that will be put into the pension that we're looking at. So, all right, turn the page, get more into detail on the year to dates. All right, so there's your month. I talked about aquatics. The yacht club had rebates. The numbers weren't as much, but there must have been $42,000 worth of rebates, I believe is what I saw. And that, all put in that month. So regardless, it's revenue. Golf ops, public works, across the board, everybody's being efficient and work is getting done. In the places where we do have expense favorability, everything's getting done. Turn the page. Okay, so year to date, million 56. I got to watch my prior year. We're pretty much on track with last year. And that's very telling to me. So that number, the 797 there, the favorability, budget revenues to current year revenues, you could see there, that's driving 80% of the favorability. Okay, this schedule is good schedule. That's where it is. It's organic. We did, and I want to emphasize again when we did the budget, we did increase our revenues from the prior year in the budgets. We continue to do that. I see us over the next several years doing that. So it's not like, well, pretty much everybody, it's not like we're, lowering the numbers so that we can, beat it. We raise them. Turn the page. Let's look at some detail. Okay, so the golf ops 209, we talked about the police, but straight down pretty much favorable. Look, the marinas had a tough year with 95 small craft warnings. I never saw it that high. We have budgeted for a bounce back year. And we expect that, assuming that the weather is there. I want to talk a little bit about the clubhouse grill. We talked about golf. When you look at the clubhouse grill and you look at anybody that looks at the controllers report and you look at the operating summary, which I see some of the people here, many do. You look at the grill, the operating profit right now, just round numbers, is $100,000. The yacht club is $215,000. That's telling to me. The clubhouse grill is a function of golf. The more we do in golf, the more we're going to do in that clubhouse grill. And that's compliments to the team in there also, led by, Judy, Rob, everybody in there. I want to shout out to them. They're doing a great job, of course, no matter what company in there. But that is a function of golf. So as golf goes up, that's going to go up more. Turn the page. Okay, so our reserves, this is a big schedule, especially with the DMA coming up. Put your focus, bottom right corner, to $7.8 million. That's probably going to be around 7.4, the end of the year forecast. Originally, we were forecasting 7 million, but because of the pavilion and the racket sports will not happen before April 30th, we're estimating somewhere around 7.4 million. Again, positioned well going into the DMA study, but we don't know what will come out of there. It's uncharted waters for everybody, not just us. What I'm saying is this association is as prepared as anybody, and I'm just on my question, credit to the prior boards, credit to this gentleman next to me and many of every board member that's been there for, especially this board over the last 6-7 years.
Appreciate it. Next up, we have Monica giving our treasurer's report.
Thank you, Rick. Kudos to Don and his team on the favorable numbers that just continue to look good month over month. So thank you, John, and your staff. As of March 31st, 2024, the association had approximately $15 million in cash. Cash increased $600,000 from the same time last year. Cash increased $1 million from February of 2024. We have $10.5 million invested in CDARS. We have $46,000 in interest income recognized for the month. The remaining 4.5 is in insured sweep accounts, treasury bills, money market and other operating accounts diversified between two banks. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica. Appreciate it. Next up, we have public comments. Those who wish to make comments must state their name and their address, and it's limited to 5 minutes. So please come forward if you have any public comments. Morning.
My name's Bernie McGarry, and I lived at 11 Leslie Muse in Ocean Pines in Turns Landing for full-time for the past 16 years. So it's good to be here. As many of the people in the front of the room know, I was the former chair of the Strategic Planning Committee. So what I'm here today is, again, John, I think you're doing a phenomenal job operations-wise and aligning with the strategic plan. But I'm concerned about the board's alignment with the strategic plan, the goals in there, and the core values that we all agreed upon. Okay. If you Google a board, what a board should be doing, it's developing a strategic plan and aligning the leadership and plans with the strategic plan. Okay. I've been on boards, and that's what the primary role was. In the development of the current strategic plan, we surveyed the community. Over 1,800 people responded. Okay. The number one issue was the lack of core values in this community. Berlin has them, other communities have them, other associations have them, but we did not have a list of core values. So together with John, his team, the board, we developed a list of core values and action plans to implement them in the community. So why I'm here today is a motion to discontinue a committee is the opposite of what's in the strategic plan. We want to engage the community. We want to embrace the community. And my daughter's passing out. The strategic plan is on the website, but I brought copies here of one of the goals here. If you look at that goal number 4, it says foster a sustainable, engaged community driven by our core values. Okay. First one, promote the association. Josh is doing a phenomenal job. He always has. The second one, work with committees as they represent the association membership. Okay. Work with committees as they represent the association membership. So, my concern would be is, giving committees a voice on the agenda. Okay. I know many of you, the new board members talked about the importance of the committee and the committees and making them more present and making them hear their voice more. So you really should be giving them voices on it and not forcing them to, present during public comments. The other thing is you should be collaborating with the committees, okay? Not discontinuing them. You should be respecting them. Another area of concern is, if you look at that goal, is implement our core values across the organization. Can anybody articulate our 5 core values? Let me read them to you. These are all agreed upon. They're all in our strategic plan. Number 1 is integrity. 2 is collaboration. 3 is respect, okay? Transparency, and sustainability. You as board members really need to ask yourself if you're demonstrating these core values, okay? And don't be like some of your predecessors. Those that kept Rick off the board. Stuart, the boards that kept you off my committee when I agreed to put you on my committee. Don't be petty. Don't be punitive. Be a leader. I teach at Salisbury University in the MBA program, business ethics, business consulting. When my students challenge me, I don't fail them. I don't, tell them to discontinue the class or eliminate themselves. I collaborate with them and try to understand. So I guess what I'm saying is I'd urge you to be honest with yourself. Demonstrate the core values of collaboration, respect, and transparency, and really reconsider the motion that you have on the dock today to eliminate the RSEC committee. I know the rationale is because you put staff in place and all that other stuff, but how's that different than golf or some of the other committees? I don't know, and I don't understand all the details, but I cannot stay around for the vote, but I know the vote's always been predetermined behind closed doors, emails, or whatever. Again, transparency. But you really need to ask yourself, is this the right decision? Are you being leaders? And, I'd urge you to either reconsider the motion, delay the motion, collaborate, show respect for the committees, and really either vote against it or withdraw it from from the motion today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Didn't expect Bernie's comment to be so powerful, but I'm going to go through with my statement. My name is Kathy Noble and I live at 8 Carriage Lane. We purchased our home over 4 years ago and I have 4 family members that live here, including grandchildren. I was so excited to be part of a community that is run by the community. I immediately wanted to do my part and volunteer, as I've done throughout my lifetime. I'm sad to say this is the worst experience of my lifetime. My hope is by speaking today, I can shed some light on the truth. And sadly, I feel I must add that I hope that I will be allowed to speak for my allotted 5 minutes and not cut off, disregarded, misquoted, or silenced, like I have been in my short tenure as committee chair. I became the chair of the RSAC committee and hope to help the communication between administration and the Racket Sports Club. Also, because my personal love for all the sports, and now the desire to help the community capitalize on what is considered the fastest growing sport since 2020, pickleball. Sadly, what has happened instead is the committee being told by Rick Farr that will be only an option for a 3-sport combo rate. We better prepare for it. Okay, I don't claim to know everything about Ocean Pines to be able to say with all certainty that this is not beneficial to the Racket Center, but it was by no means a recommendation from the RSAC committee. As someone deeply involved in racket sports and a part of the pickleball community from its roots, I cannot say that I or RSAC committee agreed with this decision. However, I would welcome a conversation to understand this decision. Instead, due to technical difficulties, there's no recording of the special meeting that was called concerning this 3-sport rate at the final budget announcement. So there's really no way to disprove the false claims that RSAC did not agree with this. Then in an executive council yearly meeting, the 2022 summary of the RSAC annual report stated that RSAC wanted a 3-sport rate combo. This is back in 2022. They're saying that this was discussed. I reached out to the past members and was able to confirm that this was not accurate. However, the recording of this meeting was edited to omit my objection. Sadly, there is more. All the racket sport members are well aware of the ongoing flooding problem at the Racket Center. After a heavy rain, OPA announced the closure of the Racket Center and stated that it was due to the accusation made from an RSAC member about a possible mold problem, implying that it was a new issue brought up by a problematic committee, when in reality, there was a charging document from RSAC created in March of 2023, a year ago, asking for a mold inspection. As per the flooding, which was the real reason the Racket Center was closed, I will quote a statement from Tim Johnson, the previous director of Racket Sports. The building is outdated, too small. It floods whenever there is rain. The water seeps into the carpet behind the front desk, sometimes leaving the attendants in standing water as they check in the players. The carpets remain damp for days afterwards, which creates a moldy smell, often leading to the staff developing headaches. As the Ocean Pines Racket staff began to show signs of nausea and illness after the shop flooded, he notified HR, the general manager, seeking guidance regarding the leaky building and requesting permission to relocate the staff and the check-in desk to the lounge, where it is right now. He goes on to state, no need to take my word for it. FOIA request will pull up the email exchanges on this subject. In fact, Public Works acknowledged this flooding has been a problem for years. To speak on the last main issue, the renovations of the Racket Center, where there has been overwhelming focus on an RSAC member that spoke with the county to ask about limitations for renovating the Racket Center. This has been framed as intentional sabotage or insubordination instead of a member of the community asking for public information in a genuine attempt to do what's best for our community. But somehow these false claims have distracted everyone from wondering why we were told we had to stay within the footprints of the existing walls, when this is completely inaccurate. All of my supporters say I should speak from the heart. My heart is sad and confused. I feel I need to step down as a volunteer because it's causing me such stress. Never did I think volunteer work would cause stress. I always thought it was a good thing to give back when I was so fortunate in my lifetime. Thank you for this opportunity to speak my truth. I hope that by sharing my experience, some positive change can happen in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comments?
I want to get the, sorry. Okay, I'll start. Good morning. My name is Daryl Noble. I live at 8 Carriage Lane, where I live with my wife, Catherine, and have lived there for the past 5 years. I wanted to be crystal clear to everyone that I am not speaking on behalf of any committee or any club or any Ocean Pines organization. I'm speaking on my own behalf. I'm here this morning to discuss the proposed motion on today's agenda to repeal Resolution C14. C14 would disband the Racket Sports Advisory Committee, commonly referred to as RSAC. I thought long and hard about making a public comment at this board meeting and was reluctant, very reluctant initially to do it until I read the proposed motion. After reading the motion, it was clear to me that I had to make a public comment. And that's what I'm here today to do. The proposed motion will be acted on later in the agenda today. And the proposed motion is to repeal Resolution C14. And Resolution C14 defines and details the purpose of the Racket Sports Committee, RSAC. Until I read the background of this motion, I was fine with all that. I understand that the RSAC committee really, the way it's all structured right now, it's really not needed. It's not a committee that's really needed. And I had no problem with eliminating that committee. However, when I read the reasoning behind this, it really irritated me very much, I must say. Just to give you the background of the proposed motion, and this is written in the agenda, it says the first sentence of the background to the proposed motion reads, given the operational changes at the Racket Sports Center, including the hiring of a director of racket sports, all associated activities and future planning will be handled by the operations staff. Now, I have a little problem with that first sentence, because a manager of racket sports was actually hired in the spring of 2023, a year ago. And then that person was promoted to a director in the fall of 2023. The sentence refers to operational changes as if they were just made. Well, they weren't. They were made a long time ago. So why wasn't the RSAC committee dissolved when Tim Johnson, who was the director of the racket sports, was hired in the spring of 2023? Why have we waited until now to do it? Well, I'll get to that. The second sentence of the proposed motion reads, removing the advisory committee from the operational aspects of racket sports, such as the running of the pro shop and organizing instructional classes, also serves to avoid any potential confusion on the appropriate source for all information regarding the Racket Center. Well, the RSAC committee made very few suggestions as to how the pro shop should be run. And they were not involved in organizing instructional classes. In fact, to my surprise, and probably many of your surprise, the RSAC committee wasn't even allowed to speak to Director Johnson, nor was he in attendance at any of the RSAC committee meetings. Seems a very unusual way to operate a committee. Therefore, there was no potential confusion as the motion reads. I have outlined the inaccuracies in the proposed motion. The motion is a fairy tale. We all know why this proposal is being proposed. It's because of a presentation not by RSAC, but by an Ocean Pines resident who happens to be on the RSAC committee as a member, but spoke on her own behalf and not on the behalf of RSAC. This person made the board and management uncomfortable and raised serious, important questions. I'm not going to deal with all that right now because that's all water over the dam at this point. But it is my hope that this board will defeat the proposed motion and that it may be accurate that the committee should be disbanded and dissolved. That may be the case. Why have an advisory committee when the advice given by the committee is ignored? So get rid of them. I hope the motion will be presented that will accurately describe the background as to the real reason why the RSAC committee is being disbanded.
5 minutes.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other public comments at this time? I'm going to go ahead and close the floor on public comments. Next up, we have capital work. John?
Linda's going to handle
This is for the swim racket,
Yeah.
pool splash.
Swim and racket splash pad. I'm requesting authorization to go forward with staff recommendation of 36,040 for Aqua Seal resurfacing. If anyone's been by the splash pad, it's shipping up, so I'm doing a show and tell. This is going to be the material that we're requesting approval for. It's reusable and it's expandable. So if we do plan to expand in the future, it's durable, it's on a warranty, and so that's it. And it's in the part of the capital. It is a part of the 24-25 capital.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm gonna put forward a motion to approve the $36,040 to remove and place the splash pad for the pool area in utilizing the vendor of Aqua Seal resurfacing. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second? Any discussion?
I just had a quick question, Lynn. Innovative didn't give you a number to remove the old one?
No, they didn't.
Okay, thank you.
So all in favor for the expenditures of $36,040? Any opposition? Abstentions? The motion passes for the approval of $36,040 for the removal and replace of the splash pad. Next up, we have CPI violations.
CPI violations, all these have gotten the first and second notices and did not request any hearings. I do have a few adjustments. They did get the second notices and did respond within the last 2 days after the agenda went out. We have extended 31 Sundial, 53 Fairway, and 2 Miss Flower, so they will not be in consideration to forward to legal, but the other ones will. 14 Widows Watch Court, 12 Whaler Lane, 56 Lookout Point, 43 Moonshell Drive, 13 Riverside Court, 39 Abbeyshire Road, 158 Seafair Lane, 10 Royal Oaks Drive, 26 Gloucester Road, 13 Boston Drive, 865 Ocean Parkway, 795 Ocean Parkway, and for requests for contractor resolution, 74 White Horse Drive, 76 White Horse Drive, 87 White Horse Drive, and 61 Falcon Bridge Road.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Lynn, I have a question about 14 Widows Watch. Understand that, or maybe this is towards Bruce, I'm really not sure. I understand that that house either is under contract to be sold or been sold.
I don't.
How does that work?
New mics. I don't know the answer to that question, but it is that the case, Linda? I don't know. The way that it would work is, to answer your question though, if there's a pending violation and there's a contract to sell the property, my recommendation actually would be that OPA put that violation into the resale
Okay.
package, so that the buyer, you can't sort of get in the way and prevent a purchase from happening, but so that the buyer is aware that they're taking title of the property while there's a pending violation.
Okay.
And then the buyer is going to become obligated.
Yeah, it was picked up on a resale. It was picked up on a resale, so if it was noted on the resale package that it has not switched hands in our system, when it switches hands, we can transfer it over because it was on the resale packet.
Okay, just
Yeah,
want to know how
yeah.
that worked.
And if it's not in the resale packet, then you'd actually probably have to start the process over again with first letter, second letter, et cetera. So, but if
Okay.
it's in the resale package, then you can.
Then
just
the new
continue.
owners will be aware of
Yep.
the violation. Okay, thank you.
Okay, with these CPI violations, going to do a motion to move these CPI violations, what was noted by Linda, to legal for processing. Do I have a motion?
Can I just ask for a change to the motion? Again, it's a motion to suspend amenity use rights,
Mhm.
voting rights, and refer to legal for further action. So you might want to restate that
Mhm.
motion that way.
Okay, once again, a motion to move CPI violations to suspend the amenities, the voting rights, and refer to legal proceedings. Do I have a motion for that?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Next up, we have unfinished business, which is none. We do have new business, which is a second reading for the changes to resolutions C01 Committee General Policy. John.
Yep, the motion to consider and adopt revisions to Resolution C01, purpose to clarify qualifications for committee membership. The background is the revisions received the first reading at the March 23rd, 2024 regular board meeting. Effort to precisely document membership requirements and create a procedure for processing applications and approving committee memberships.
Do I have a motion to approve the change to C01? Do I have a second? Do I have any discussion? Steve?
Thanks, Rick. There are 2 points, and I'll vote for this, but and I appreciate John and the rest of the members of the board sort of accepting the suggestions of the bylaws committee relating to C01. There is one suggestion which I didn't see in here, and that was attaching the form that would be used for prospective members as an attachment to the resolution. Again, I don't think it's critical. I thought it was a good idea. But I would suggest that maybe it's still worthwhile to attach it if the board sees fit. The other issue which gave me some pause was in attachment 3, Roman 4, dealing with the board liaison. And I have been told in the past, and I assume this to be accurate, that the role of the liaison dealing with the committee membership is really as a conduit to take from the chair of the committee, sign off and bring it to the board's attention. The Roman 4 has that the liaison will review the application and make recommendations on whether the application should be accepted or rejected. And then B, the board liaison will complete the application form with a designation of acceptance or rejection of the application. Then oddly enough, it includes a footnote at the bottom, which says, be advised that the board liaison cannot make the decisions, only the board has the authority to do so, which sort of makes, in my mind, the requirement of any sort of designation of acceptance or rejection sort of superfluous. I don't know why it's there. It does seem to me to be inconsistent with what the role of the liaison is. I think if people are going to depend upon that for some future consideration of committee members, then we've sort of opened ourselves up to some mischief. But I think it's worthwhile to call that to the board's attention. But as I said, I'll vote for the resolution. But I had some concerns about that one particular provision in attachment 3.
Any further discussion? On that? I'm gonna put forward a, all in favor for the approval of the change to resolution C01.
Uh,
Do you have any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion to accept changes to C01 has passed. We have a second reading of changes to resolution C03, Budget and Finance Advisory Committee. John,
The motion to consider and adopt resolutions to C03. Purpose was to renumber sections in the resolution. The background is these revisions received the first reading at the March 23rd, 2024 regular meeting. A review by the Budget and a review by the Budget and Finance Committee noted sections were numbered incorrectly. So basically just a number adjustment.
got a motion to approve the changes to resolution C03.
Motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the approval of the changes to resolution C03? Say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion to accept changes to C03 has passed. Moving forward, we have a second reading of a revision to the Architectural Review Committee guidelines. Elaine Brady.
Yes, this was something a couple of months back that we went over on the first reading. And it's basically updates of issues that have arisen over time in the art committee meetings. And, kind of the heightened concern of the committee's appearance by residents. It just brings certain things up to date. The document has been out there for everybody to take a look at. There are, under the sign regulations, which were both written and vetted by council, that when we remove the requirement for a permit for an Ocean Pines candidate, ARC does not provide permits, they provide permission in order for signs. So we're just going to make that change. We're also going to it be more clear on the ballot window for Ocean Pines candidates. For all other elections, it's 30 days prior to the election process or date. And then signs must come down 7 days after. Our window is just a little larger. So we're going to modify that so that it says when the mailing of the ballots go out until the ballot return date, whatever that window is going to be. And then we were also going to include paving permits, by the committee recommendation. Certainly with a lot of the water runoff, they feel that it's something that's needed at this time.
Okay. Thanks, Elaine. So with that, I'm going to put a motion to amend the Architectural Review Committee guidelines to remove the requirement for the board candidates to get a permit under the Ocean Pines board candidate sign, and to add those signs may go up once the ballots are mailed, and then add a requirement for new paving to require a permit. Currently, the DRs have never addressed the paving, and due to flooding issues and water runoff from hard surface, the ARC wishes to add a permit to this process. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the amendments to the ARC Review Committee guidelines, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion to amend passes. So with that, I have a motion to approve the updated Architectural Review Committee guidelines. Do I have a motion for that? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Jeff.
I just want to say, really nice updates to this document, Elaine. I've read it now for the 20th time. Thanks.
Yeah, and it was really the committee. They spent, so that folks know, they spent well over a year and have been very thoughtful. And I know other members of the board who have sat in on their committee meetings, and I've had the pleasure of doing that for the last 6 months, is that, these committee members are so very thoughtful in looking at variances and what they do and sticking to our DRs and we should be very supportive of that group and thankful for them because they really do help keep our community up to the standards that they should. They can, and they also really do work very hard with the homeowners come very reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. And this document is so important. Really what I wanted to say was, I wish there was a way we could proactively get this into the hands of all of our association members, like a email or something with this updated document.
Gotcha.
And is that something maybe we can pass on to take a look at? Just letting people know it's been updated,
Great. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
I'm gonna kind of add to Jeff's comment. When I was elected last year, a lot of things that I heard was to make sure that we want to be able to enforce our rules and regulations throughout the community. So we're getting there, and this document is going to help us get there. I guess the downside of it is now a lot of folks are like we get messages about, I got a violation. I've been here for 20 years. It's like, hey, the community asked us to do it. This is what we're doing. You'll get an answer. You might not like the answer, but you're going to get an answer. So again, I commend the committee and for Director Brady for helping to spearhead that.
Thanks, Sean. So with that motion, all in favor for the updated Architectural Review Committee guidelines, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposition? The motion passes. Next, we have a motion to repeal the Resolution C-014 in its entirety. Purpose of an effect, the Resolution C-014 defines the details and purpose of the Racket Sports Advisory Committee. The background, given the operational changes and the Racket Sports Center, including the hiring of a director of Racket Sports, all associated activities and future planning will be handled by the operations staff. Removing the advisory committee from the operational aspect of the Racket Sports, such as running the pro shop and organized instructional classes, also serve to avoid any potential confusion on the appropriate source of all information regarding the Racket Sports Center. Do I have a motion to approve the repeal of Resolution C-014? Do I have a second? Any discussion? Jeff?
Thank you, Rick. And Bernie, I would be disingenuous if I didn't say that I struggled with this opinion, because I believe in the value of an advisory function. However, I support this motion to dissolve the Racket Sports Advisory Committee. I feel that the RSAC has abandoned its mission. Why? Racket Sports Manifesto was read at the last board meeting on the 23rd of March during the public comments section. This manifesto contained inaccurate information that was very alarming. Alarming at many levels. First, let me talk about leadership. The Racket Sports Advisory Committee was well aware of the content of this manifesto and remained silent. Content that supports the misaimed cause of a few that are far left from center. Content that does not represent those to which they represent. This silence is complacency. This silence is passive agreement. This silence in this case is dereliction of duty. a complete lack of leadership. This alarm provoked our general manager, supported by the board, to take action to protect our association. This alarm was promptly answered. It was a job well done, and John, I thank you for that. Second, let me talk about first-class amenities. This manifesto from the fringe tried to change the narrative of an approved racket sports center building. We have a first-class racket center. This board continues to prioritize the improvement of our amenities. The general manager brought a plan to the board that was approved for a first-class renovated building. A building that the racket sports community welcomes. A building with new bathrooms, new check-in, new merchandise space, new meeting space, and one that does not leak when it rains. A building that supports the needs of our racket sports community. I have personally confirmed this over the last 2 weeks. I've talked to men in the racket sports community, and all that I talk to do not want anything more than we have planned and approved. Nobody wants significantly improved meeting space, showers, kitchen. This manifesto promoted the will of a few. This has provoked this motion, and we must support this to prevent further out-of-touch fermentation. This committee has abandoned us. We have and are receiving sound advice from receiving sound advice based on their expertise, their research, and analysis. So what are we left with? Well, the racket sports has a very unique situation where pickleball, tennis, and spec tennis have presidents who can stay in touch with this sports community's needs and concerns. And I ask all of my fellow colleagues to support this motion. Thank you, Rick.
Any further discussion? Dr. Lackernick?
Thank you, Rick. Bernie, I struggled with this as well because of how I was targeted. I have to be honest with you. This isn't targeting. To echo what Director Hebner said, this is a group that has gone rogue. And just in the month of April, I just want to run some things by everybody. The claim of mold in that building, which was unfounded, cost us little in excess of $10,000. We had a volunteer appreciation dinner where we had close to 200 people show up. We got 12 responses from the folks from the RSEC committee that said that they were going to attend. None of them showed up at $100 a plate. That's $1,200. So for the month of April, this committee cost us $11,200. In addition, if you think about it, the base assessment is $850. It cost us almost 14 assessments to prove a mold claim being wrong and the vindictiveness of people not showing up when they said that they would. I struggled with this because I was the victim at one point, but this is not victimization. This is not, this is, I'm going to support this motion. Thanks, Rick.
Any further discussion? Monica?
I will also support this motion. You know, within a month's time, the committee went from being very excited to hear all the details about the planned renovations to the racket center. The following month, a motion was made to second and seconded to halt the renovation. What happened? At no time during last month's meeting was the person represented themselves as an individual homeowner. That was never made clear. As far as I was concerned, she was speaking on behalf of the committee. The committee has disregarded the mission to advise the board and aid in promoting the successful operations of the racket sports activity. So I am in favor of this resolution or motion.
Any other further discussion? Director Jacobs?
Thank you, Rick. I'm opposed to the motion. Please don't be surprised. And I start off with the view that, in all honesty, the Racket Sports Committee has, for lack of a better term, screwed the pooch. John and his staff did nothing wrong. In fact, my recollection, John, correct me if I'm wrong, my recollection is on several occasions prior to the vote regarding the renovations to the Racket Center, we made interim reports to the board. There's always a line where the Racket Sports Committee had been consulted. In fact, I'm sure they've been consulted more than 2 or 3 times during the whole process. There's a basic rule of finality. The finality is the board approved what they were, based upon John's report, based upon the figures he presented, based upon his representation, that the committee endorsed that change. We're done. That's it. Now, what happened in April? They screwed up. No question about it. But these people are volunteers. And for those who were not at the dinner last week, Rick made excellent comments about the value of homeowners, lot owners in Ocean Pines, committing their time, their energy, their efforts as volunteers on all the various committees. Now, we may be, the people on the committee may be guilty of being a little over enthusiastic at best, but they definitely screwed up. None of that is a justification in my mind for eliminating the committee. And in fact, if you read Resolution C14, none of that comports with the background in the cover document. If the functions in C14 are all advisory or recommendations or anything along those lines, the board always has the final say. And in fact, if you listen to the comments by my colleagues, we all acknowledge it has nothing to do with what's in the cover resolution. It has to do with the fact that they screwed up. So if we were all 4 or 5 or 6 years old, we probably would all be sent to our rooms without dessert. But there has to be a case made where the committee sits down, maybe with John, maybe with the liaison, maybe with the board, get them straightened out and get them back on the beam. But none of this has anything to do with eliminating the resolution C14. And it's disappointing, frankly, that even now committee members are sort of backing and filling and say, well, you know, the committee member, but spoke for herself and all. Look, this was planned. We've had run-ins with pickleball people on whether or not they can have lessons and memberships. We've had the issue with the rates, and now we've had issues with the construction of the racket center. This is a committee that needs better guidance. This is not a committee that needs to be eliminated. So I am sure I will be in the minority when this vote is taken. I understand that, but I think we're making a mistake. We need to recognize the value of volunteerism, just as everybody on this board is a volunteer. That's really where it comes down. And by the way, let me add one other thing. I think the committee, whether it's in its current form or if it's reconstituted in some other form, owes John and his staff a formal and blatant apology for what transpired over the last 2 months. He did nothing wrong. The staff did nothing wrong. They followed procedure. The board did what it was supposed to do. The only people who screwed up was the committee. That's it. Thank you.
Any further discussion? So once again, all in favor of the approval to repeal C014, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Abstentions? Motion to repeal C014 passes. Next up is a discussion and establishing a historical work group. Elaine Brady.
And if you don't mind, Rick, I actually have two discussion items and I'm going to do them in a different order, if that's okay.
So are you going to do
Because-
discussion of the East Room first or what?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and have the discussion on the East Room and the Anna Foltz Room.
Okay. Yes, this was sort of what came to mind the second discussion. But Joe Reynolds, who I believe is here today, I saw pointed out that many of folks here, especially newer folks, really don't know why the East Room is named the East Room. Most think that it's a directional thing. And it is not. It was very much for Phyllis East, who was, she was, as my father used to say when he was on the board, she really ran Ocean Pines. She knew where every document was. Before we had computers and internet, she was the organizational force, along with a trusted advisor to many board members and staff, GMs. And so she was honored in that way. Also, Anna Foltz, while her room is mentioned with the full name, the East Room is not with Phyllis. So we'd like to have that plaque changed for both. It was also suggested, and I think it's a great idea, that there be some sort of a framed document to outline what those women contributed, just a kind of a blanket. Were an integral part, probably isn't enough, just to allow people to know what they did. If you knew Anna Foltz, she was a force of nature, one of the sweetest ladies you'd ever meet, and you absolutely could never say no to her. She was that sweet. So whatever Anna wanted, she was involved in everything. Yep, everybody jumped on board to make sure it happened. So that's kind of the background on those. So I'd like to, see if we can get those, the plaque, with the name, and then also some information about these ladies
Okay, great.
taken care of.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, to echo Director Brady, we lose a lot of institutional knowledge with the passing of these people, of the history of how this community developed. And I think things like this are important, and the things like the next thing you're going to discuss are important to put together a work group to put our institutional stuff in a place so we keep it. Thank you, Elaine.
Any other further discussion on this topic? So what I like to do is like to make a motion to have Ocean Pond Association Operations change the name of the East Room to the Phyllis East Room, and then price out and add a plaque to the entrance to that room, as well as adding a plaque to the entrance to the current Anna Foltz room. Do I have a motion?
I'm going to amend that.
Okay.
There is actually a plaque for Anna Foltz, but there is no information for Phyllis East. That's why the confusion. Everybody thinks it's just the room faces east, and that's why it's called
Okay.
that. So we do need to, but I also think, and I don't know that it needs to be on a plaque, but some sort of framed, more descriptive of what those women contributed to our community would be beneficial.
So do I have a second? They're all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Next, we have appointments. What I'd like to do is make,
Wait,
oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up.
I know, because I twisted
Yes,
them
you did.
back, but
So we're gonna do it. We're gonna go ahead and do the discussion of establishing a historical work group. Elaine.
yeah, because these really are connected, and the thought of forming an historical work group really came as Joe had it mentioned about Phyllis East. During the 50th anniversary, the committee collected an awful lot of documents, information, photographs, and many have been kept and stored. We really haven't been able to figure out, a way to best display them, what we should be doing with these documents. There are also, many of our early community members are dying off, and some of the information or documents that they may have may get thrown out by their families, not realizing, we certainly found a document that our family is going to give to the historical end in my father's attic when he passed a few years ago. And so, I'd like to see if community members would like to step up. I think that we, need to look at how we obtain documents, how we store them, how we're going to preserve them, how we're going to showcase them, how we're going to catalog them. There's all kinds of things. I just think it's the time for that. We're going to lose this institutional knowledge, and not only our past documents, of the last 50, 60 years, but ensure that we have documents going forward, because certainly, 2 or 3 generations from now, everything we're doing right now is going to be considered historical. So I'd just like to, if the board kind of approves moving forward on having this task group, I'd also really encourage community members to please join and help in the effort. Thank you.
I just had a question real quick on that. So I'm assuming, Elaine, you'll take lead on this,
Yeah.
and that we'll need to know about those who would like to be appointed to specific positions within this work group. And also, is it for a temporary period of time, or how long? We need to kind of, put that together on this. And we don't have to get that answer right now, but these are some of the questions that will need to be answered of who's part of this group, if you're going to lead as far as that's concerned, period of time, and some directions of how this is going to flow.
Okay. Yeah, I think we need to, get it out through PR, have people they could contact me direct, and, we can pull that together. At the term of it, I think we'll see how it evolves. Right now, it's a work group. Whether it would end up at some point becoming a committee, we'll just let that kind of see how that's going to flow over time.
Any other questions? Monica?
Not a question, but more to, this past week, the Pioneer Craft Group celebrated their 50th anniversary. 50 years, isn't that awesome, right?
Yeah.
And actually the very first president, 92-year-old lady, came in and she was there and spoke for a few minutes. But one thing that really resonated with me, well, one of the things was that they had lost a lot of their history due to flooding in their original building, which was a bathhouse at the time. And they said they would go into the closet and there were still the towel racks and the soap dish containers in this building. So I agree, this is really important. There's a lot of great history here, and I hope we can make this happen.
Any other discussion on that?
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware, Elaine, I think Josh Davis a couple of years ago has a couple of videos up on our YouTube channels interviewing some of our folks that sold land here and some of the things with the paddle boat. We had a paddle boat, by the way. And some of the things that I heard, Whitehorse Park was a trailer park originally, I believe. It's some interesting stuff if you get a chance to see it. It's on the Ocean Pines YouTube channel.
Many people don't know we had stables, or they don't know the history behind the pig farm that was next to Ocean Pines. There's a lot of interesting information, and certainly as we continue to grow and age, that there'll be more stories to be told and history to be saved.
John?
Yeah, I just want to add that I think it's a great idea. And I was just recently at the yacht club in the, I call the front bar, whatever, the inside bar. There's a shadow box with a flag in it. And Sharon O'Hare, who has a fair amount of institutional knowledge for our community, had shared with me that inside of that shadow box, there's some paperwork and there's some documents. She was saying basically like we need to figure out how we carry this on, and folks that know exactly what is here, why this flag's here, what it represents, and then history and documentation behind it. So I think it's an awesome idea. Plus it's a flag, so.
And it's all emanated from Joe reaching out about Philippines, but I thought it's time. It's really time.
Maybe Joe will be one of the volunteers for that. So.
Yeah.
I said, Joe, maybe you'll be one of the volunteers for the work group for that one there, since you brought it up. So.
Thanks, Elaine. I think it's, and those that might be interested in joining that work group, please get in touch with Elaine and she'll get back with you on the particulars on that. Next, we're going to go ahead and move forward with appointments. I'm going to do a motion to approve the appointments as a group for Wesley Blakesley for the second term strategic planning, Michael Galello, excuse me, first term architectural review, and Robert Long, the third term for golf. Do I have a motion to approve those?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes for the appointments. Next up, we have a motion for an adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming out.